obviously there's a lot of conflicted emotions, I guess, in the fan base over the win. I'm wondering if what you think about if the league should address this issue in terms of a draft lottery or something like that, where teams aren't necessarily rewarded for how badly they do come April.
Yeah, my focus is on the team we play. I understand the question, and doing everything we can do to compete. At the highest level we compete. We put a lot of work into this, and I was happy for the players, like I said yesterday.
Do you think a system like that would change perspectives, though?
Yeah, that's not in my that's not my cup of tea here. You got to ask somebody else that. I just know that these guys come in every day and they put a lot into this and give everything they have each week.
Thanks.
Yep.
Jordan Renaud.
Hey, Brian.
Jordan.
Off that for a second, I mean, what do you think of the idea when people say, hey, you guys lost by winning in that regard from a coaching perspective?
Yeah, again, we can control, Jordan. So, again, we come in, we do everything we can to prepare for the week and go out there to play, as good as we can play, coach as good as we can play, and that's where our focus is.
How much do you personally, I mean, not the team and the players, but you obviously have to juggle long-term compared to this week and short-term, think about where you're at and the draft during the season?
Yeah, our focus is on the opponent we're playing and ourselves each week. As a coaching staff and players, we do, again, try to do everything we can do to go out there and play as coach as good as we can.
And do you have any expectations this week on whether, Saquon plays, Eagles play their starters, or, he has a chance to get that record? I'm curious what you think about that and how you approach that from a coaching perspective.
Yeah, I'd say we're going to get ready to play, the Eagles and go through the tape like we normally go through the tape. Any questions about that, you'd have to ask Nick.
Do you have any thoughts on him getting to 2,000 yards? That's obviously a big thing. Wasn't able to do that here. First year goes over there, and that's a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, we're just getting started here on the Eagles. I've said this numerous times. Got a lot of respect for Saquon, and he's a heck of a player.
Paul Schwartz.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Paul.
Do you think that winning one game the way you did yesterday has any tangible effect on some of the young players who are on your team who, you've said have been practicing hard and doing the right thing, haven't been getting the results? What does this result do for them today, this week, and, on into next year, do you think?
Yeah, again, like I said last night, it was good to see smiling faces, after they laid it on the line and did a lot of good things and, competed out there for 60 minutes. And again, that's what we preach. Do everything you can do during the week, preparation-wise, taking care of your body, nutrition, sleep, all the necessary habits you need to do, and then go out there and execute on game day. So, you do all those things. It doesn't guarantee you anything, certainly, but it's good to get the result when you put as much into it as these guys do.
You said all along that, you feel you have guys who can make plays on offense, guys who can break tackles and get yards after catch and things like that, and it hasn't happened. Yesterday it happened, for three guys, I'm sure you love the way you saw that. Does that reinforce in your mind, and you think it helps reinforce in their minds, after all these weeks of not doing it, that, oh yeah, we can do this, I can do this?
Yeah, I think we have some good skill players that can, make plays down the field and make plays with the ball in their hands. So, it was good to see those guys do that. It's a good group, and they were productive yesterday.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dan Duggan.
Hey, Brian, you obviously emphasized the value of the good quarterback play you got yesterday, and that hasn't been the case most of the season. I'm just curious, what was your role in the evaluations? We saw Hard Knocks. You weren't really very much in it, I guess, in getting this quarterback room together. How much of a voice did you have in that?
Yeah, again, I've said this, Dan. Joe and I work together. We have a lot of good communication, and we're focused on here with Drew and Tommy, and then obviously we added Tim, and that's where my focus is on those three guys.
Thanks.
Yep.
Brian Dunleavy.
Hey, Brian, that was the most points you guys have scored under you and the most points the Giants have scored since 2015. So I guess it's really a two-part question. Does part of you wonder why it took till that point, and how much of that is what you guys did yesterday is applicable going forward versus it was scheme specific to the Colts?
Yeah, I don't go down. Look, we played a good football game. We executed well. Give the players a lot of credit. We're efficient. We made plays on third down, scored in the red zone, made explosive plays, and didn't turn the football over. I know Tracy had that one, but Jermaine did a nice job, and Wandell fighting for that thing. Again, when you don't turn the football over, you win the explosive plays, you convert on third down and do a good job in the red zone and get off to a fast start. Those are elements to, scoring points and winning football games. And that's what you try to do every week. So it's the first time we won the turnover ratio, and that's hard to do. Between, the turnover ratio, explosives, those type of things, you need to win those elements of the game. You need to win those splash plays, whether it's on the defensive side or the offensive side or in the kicking game, which obviously we had a splash play there too with Amir. So give the players a lot of credit.
And then you just said a minute ago to Duggan, you and Joe work hand in hand on, all the personnel kind of stuff. So to go back to Saquon, does part of you regret not making a bigger push to keep Saquon here in the offseason, not just because of on the field, but what he meant to the locker room and his teammates?
Yeah, like I've said before, I got a lot of respect for Saquon. He's a heck of a player, heck of a person, and he's had a really good year this year.
But you don't want to revisit that decision?
Yeah, we're just getting ready to play the Eagles here this week. So, and he's part of the Eagles, and he's been a very productive player.
Okay.
Art Stapleton.
Hey, Dave. Good morning.
Morning, Art.
For 10 weeks, you came on this call and talked process and staying consistent and making sure that the guys got ready for the next game. And coming off of a loss, I would imagine it's a lot easier to flush the game the day before, or at least from a coaching perspective. So you come off of yesterday where, there was certainly a high in the locker room. With 1 week left, does being consistent and sticking to the process from a coaching perspective help you in this sense? The idea that, bringing these guys back down, you could just kind of rely on how consistent you've been and your coaching staff has been, or at least how you said you've been for the last couple months when things have not gone well?
Yeah, I do think consistency is important. You don't like the negative results by any means, and then you don't get too high with the positive results. You look at the things that you did well, and then you look at the things that you didn't do as well. Which there's plenty of those in each game, whether you win or whether you lose, and then you try to improve on those things. And we have obviously one game left, and you put everything you got into it to have a good week. Prepare the right way, do the things necessary you need to do to be at your best on Sunday.
Just one other thing, obviously on a different topic, but you mentioned we talked yards after catch. You've talked yards after catch all year.
Yeah.
You mentioned ball placement last night, talking to quarterback and how much of a role a quarterback takes on that. Obviously, yesterday it seemed like the ball was exactly where it needed to be with all three of those guys on those touchdowns. But how much do you guys drill that? How much is it just an instinctive thing? How much is it the quarterback skill set and the player skill set? Take me inside that a little bit.
Sure.
When you talk about yards per catch and how that makes the plays happen.
Yeah, I mean you said pretty much all the pieces necessary. Art, there's definitely drills that you do with it in terms of catch and tuck and splitting defenders. And there was a few of those that happened, not maybe for the long ones, but Wandell had a big third down where he did the same thing and split two defenders and just made it on third down. Again, it's the technique of the throw and the ball placement of the throw. It's the skill set of the player. And, again, Malik had good ones. And then it's, making sure you're good with your read and moving defenders and putting it in a spot where those guys can stay in stride, 1 foot in front of the numbers on in cuts, which is the one to Slay, where he could stay, not slow down. And then, it's their natural skill set of running in space where, Malik had a couple good ones, but also credit a guy like Wandell who had a really good block to spring that to spring that play for even more yards. So it's a collective effort. It's the line blocking. It's all those things necessary you need to have a successful offensive play. But certainly the ability of the player that has the ball in his hand is a big component to it. Yep.
We'll take two more. Ed Valentine.
Morning, Dabes. You
Hey, Ed.
talk a lot. You talk a lot about how 1 year, how you start over every single year. A lot of the players last night talked about building a culture and the value of winning a game and sort of finishing the season well. Do you believe that finishing a season well is something that can carry over to the next year?
Yeah. Again, there's teams are so different from 1 year to the next. So again, our focus is really on the task at hand. Again, we have a lot of guys that are committed to trying to do things the right way and competing at a high level. And again, when you play the way those guys played yesterday, again, all the credit goes to those guys. Then you get the results that we all covet. So our focus really, Ed, is going to be on this week and doing everything we can do to prepare for this game.
Thank you.
Yep.
Last one, Brian Dunleavy.
Brian, I can't let you get out of here without asking about the injuries. That wouldn't be fair, right? Every week. Any new comings, goings, and specifically how Malik come out of the game?
He'll be okay. I don't really have anything for you right now. There wasn't much. There's a couple things that we're looking at here, but won't have that until Wednesday.